to be able to innovate, you need to have a mind of an explorer. And also, your brain needs to be alert, looking at things and looking at situations. I will give you an example. Long back, about 3 decades back, one of my PhD students, Anil Dhote, was doing some experiments with high temperature superconductors. These superconductors were invented in 1986 and had created quite a stir internationally, and eventually the discoverers won the Nobel Prize as well. We were doing experiments using these materials, but they were known to be unstable to environment and were getting affected by humidity. So what Anil and I had started trying to look at is to give a polymer coating to these materials to protect them against humidity and maintain their performance. So we were trying to deposit a coating of a polymer using a solution process from an organic solvent and prepare a coating of a polymer. What was happening was when the coating was dried, we were trying to see whether the superconductor holds its property, how long does it hold, and so on. But it was turning out that when the polymer coating was drying, under a microscope, we happened to see very small dots or holes into the polymer, very regularly spaced drops on the whole surface, or rather sort of dots on the whole surface of a polymer. So we wanted to see what happens, and I tried to tell Anil that you change the solvent, change this, change the polymer and all that. But he was always getting a very ordered array of some dots on that. We did not know at that time whether they were pores or something getting deposited on the top or something. Now, what happened was a few months passed in trying different things, and we could not get rid of the dots. By that time, the month of September came, I think late August, early September, and then suddenly it appeared that those dots were no longer appearing on the surface of the polymer. So we were thinking and so on, and eventually we realized that maybe the dots were being seen under a microscope when it was a rainy season. Okay, and maybe the humidity in the rainy season had to do something with it. So what we did was we did an experiment, the same experiment in September, when the dot appearance was suddenly vanishing, okay, by keeping a boiling water flask nearby. And sure enough, the dots appeared again. Now, when we investigated that, it turned out to be a very interesting phenomenon called as breath figures. All of you know that when you, in a winter season, if we exhale our breath onto a cold glass surface, you see a lot of humidity condensate, and they are ordered hexagonal patterns of dots which are created. So what was happening was the humidity was condensing on the surface of this drying polymer and was generating those dots. Therefore, they were appearing in the rainy season and not appearing in the hot season later. Then we pursued this problem further, and it became a very important research paper, which was the pattern formation on the surface of dried polymers, which was entirely different innovation and invention, had nothing to do with the superconductor that we started with. So this is where things happen in a very interesting way when you are alert of a situation and when you know that now the season has changed, so maybe humidity is a problem, was a problem, and so on, and you try to formulate a solution. There are a number of examples like this which I can give. I will give you one more example. We were trying to do some experiments with carbon cloth that was being done for some battery applications, and we then said that okay, this we have a carbon cloth like this. Why can't we try to do electrolysis using this carbon cloth, okay, in some context that we were studying? Now, when we were doing that, suddenly after some time, we found that the solution of the electrolyte that we were using was becoming turbid and slightly blackish or something. Okay. One option for somebody who was not curious would have been, okay, this is getting bad, let's quit the experiment or let's leave it. I remember Dr. Sarika Phadke, who is now with KPIT, was working with us at that time, and another Mandakini Biswal, also working with KPIT. They were doing this particular experiment. we could have simply thrown the solution and forgotten about that particular aspect. But we decided that we were curious what is going on. I mean, electrochemically, why this cloth is generating this kind of turbidity in the solution. And when we looked at what those things were in the solution, they appeared to be quantum dots. In fact, graphene quantum dots, which people were already trying to develop in different ways, and we were getting it in an entirely different process. So it is where we were not looking for quantum dots, or we were not trying to synthesize the quantum dots, but they came into the solution as a welcome thing for us, and we pursued. And when we threw ultraviolet light on those quantum dots, they were giving a very nice blue luminescence and so on. That became a very nice paper for us, a research paper, which was very well cited by others. So the example that I'm giving is, it shows you how when you are alert to a situation, you can generate something very interesting.